Against All Odds is a song by English drummer, singer and songwriter Phil Collins. It was recorded for the soundtrack to the 1984 film of the same name. It is a power ballad in which its protagonist implores an ex-lover to take a look at me now, knowing that reconciliation is against all odds while considering it worth trying. The single, while it reached number 2 in the United Kingdom, peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States, the first of 7 US number 1s for Collins in his solo career. The song has been covered by several singers, some versions of which have been successful in both the US and UK markets. The song has twice reached number 1 in the UK singles chart, the pairing of Mariah Carey and boyband Westlife, in September 2000, and then again by Steve Brookstein, the first winner of the X Factor, in January 2005. Phil Collins version. Background on writing. Collins was approached to write the title song to the film Against All Odds while it was still in its rough cut form. At the time the soundtrack was being completed, Collins was on tour with Genesis. Director Taylor Hackford flew into Chicago to see one of the band's concerts. Collins watched the movie on a videocassette recorder in his hotel room and agreed to appear on the soundtrack. Originally titled, How Can You Just Sit There? The song was initially from the sessions for Collins' debut solo album Face Value. Collins wrote the song, while arranger Raif Mardin produced it. The piano performances by New York musician Rob Munsey. Piano, keyboard, bass and a string section arranged and conducted by Mardin were recorded at RCA Studios, New York, while Collins recorded vocals and drums in Los Angeles. On episode 339 of This American Life, Break Up, Collins relays that the song was inspired and written shortly after the breakup between him and his first wife. In the interview he says that the divorce transformed him from being a musician into also being a lyricist. The song was first included on a Collins album on the 1998 compilation Hits, and it also appeared on his compilation Love Songs, a compilation. Old and New. A live performance of the song also appears on the Serious Hits A Euro Live album. Use and association with the film Against All Odds was created explicitly for the movie. Hackford, who previously used a song for the 1982 American drama film An Officer and a Gentleman, planned the same for the neo-noir 1984 film Against All Odds, which is a remake of Out of the Past. When he signed with Atlantic Records, he was provided with a roster of artists, among whom Collins was chosen to render the film's theme song based on the quality of his voice. Hackford said that it was a textbook case of designing a song to reflect what the film is. The song appears in the movie as background music during the closing credits. Writing for the soundtrack's review, AllMusic editor Heather Phares claimed that the movie is best remembered for the inclusion of Collins' classic theme song. Phares added that the song remains not only one of Collins' definitive singles, but one of the 1980s best love songs. Director Hackford also had the same view, stating that it decidedly helped the film. People identified the song with the film and came to watch it. When the single went top 5, it contributed to the increased box office sales of the movie. Reception. Against All Odds won the Grammy Award for Best Pop Vocal Performance, Male in 1985, was nominated for Song of the Year and for an Academy Award as well as for a Golden Globe both in the Best Original Song categories. At the Academy Awards ceremony, Collins was not invited to sing his song on stage and instead sat in the audience as dancer Anne Reinking gave a mostly lip-synced vocal performance accompanied by a dance routine. Reinking's performance was poorly received by critics from the Los Angeles Times and People, as well as by Collins himself in a Rolling Stone interview. When another song Collins performed for a movie, Separate Lives, was being nominated for an Academy Award, in interviews about the original snub by the Academy for Against All Odds, Collins would jokingly say "the hell with him, I'm going up to," referring to what he would do if the Stephen Bishop-written song were to win the award. Collins lost to the Stevie Wonder song I Just Called to Say I Love You. Rapper RZA named Against All Odds as his favorite power ballad in an article on such songs in Spin. Commercial performance. After its release, Against All Odds peaked at number 2 as a single in 1984 and became Collins' third top 10 single in the UK. In the US, it peaked at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 3 weeks in the spring of 1984. Billboard ranked it at the number 5 song for 1984. It is the first of 6 songs by Collins written specifically for a film soundtrack that would appear on the Hot 100. Music video. The single's music video was directed by Taylor Hackford, produced by Jeffrey Abelson through Parallax Productions and cinematographed by Daniel Pearl. Hackford was paid $20,000 for a complete Collins clip. The music video was released along with the single during the last week of February 1984. A number 1 MTV video for several weeks, MTV ranked it as number 44 in its 1984 year-end Top 20 video countdown. Gary LaMelle, music supervisor at Columbia, felt the music video on MTV increased Against All Odds box office takings by at least $5 million. The music video is an early example of a highly conceptual approach to creating hybrid movie music videos that producer Abelson pioneered. Echoing the love triangle theme of the film, Collins is seen performing in front of a wall of rainwater that is alternately lit red, blue, and green, each color representing one of the 3 main characters in the film. It is this color schematic that is used as an organic segue to and from character-specific scenes in the movie. The final scene pulls back from Collins to reveal him standing in the middle of a water-filled triangle formed from neon tubes in the same 3 colors, completing the visual concept as the 3 main characters are superimposed around the neon triangle's 3 sides. The concept for the video was created by Keith Williams, a Welsh-born writer who had already worked with Abelson on the video for Dancin' with Myself, and who would go on to also create concepts for Holding Out for a Hero, and Ghostbusters for the same producer, as well as Say You Say Me from White Nights, which Taylor Hackford also directed. Charts. Credits. Phil Collins, vocals, drums, Rob Munsey, piano, electric piano, orchestra conducted by Arif Mardin. Mariah Carey version. American singer Mariah Carey co-produced her version of the song with James Harris III and Terry Lewis for her 6th studio album Rainbow. Carey co-produced the single edit of the song with Steve Mack. Although the song was promoted as part of Carey's Rainbow in the US, it was not released as a commercial or radio single there. It was initially released in some markets in early 2000. This was also the last single with her then label Columbia. The song reached top 20 in several countries. The highest peak of the song was number 2 in Norway. The video for the Carey version of the song, directed by Paul Misbehoven, consists of a montage of clips of Carey singing the song from her various Rainbow World Tour stops to cullings from her Homecoming special. Critical reception. Mariah Carey's cover of Against All Odds received moderately mixed reviews. Daniel Smith of Entertainment Weekly wrote, "Listeners with an eye on the tabloids could read her close, ringing interpretation of Phil Collins' 1984 hit, Against All Odds, as a post-mortem on her bittersweet affair with Yankee shortstop Derek Jeter and a poignant evocation of the couple's shared mixed-race heritage." LA Times' Eliza Gardner called this cover surprisingly faithful, forthright, and she resists her tendency to over-embellish notes and focuses on what really matters, the melody and lyrics. MTV Asia editor Dara Cook wrote, "Mariah festoons herself in Phil Collins' 1980s melodic garb, appropriately pret-a-porter with overwrought emotion. She delicately ascends the sparely accompanied first versus a euro, but alas, that damn drum roll soon sounds and the bouffant strings and vocal gymnastics ensue." Rolling Stone's Orion Berger was not happy with the cover selection, which he called a drippy 80s power pop hit. Track listings. European CD single, Against All Odds, Crybaby, European CD Maxi single, Against All Odds, Crybaby, Thank God I Found You, Can't Take That Away, Japanese CD single, Against All Odds, Against All Odds, Against All Odds, Against All Odds. Charts. Mariah Carey and Westlife version. Carey re-released the song in collaboration with Irish boy band Westlife. The song was released as first single from the band's second album Coast to Coast. The song was released in September 2000, a few months after Carey's solo version. Carey did not re-record her vocals for the duet. However, the instrumental track was reproduced with a more organic sound complete with violins. The music video shows Carey and Westlife recording the song and exploring the island of Capri by boat. The single peaked at number 1 in the United Kingdom and Ireland, while reaching number 3 on the continental chart, European Hot 100 singles. It became Carey's second single to top the UK singles chart and Westlife's sixth consecutive number 1 single. The song has sold 370,000 copies in the total in the United Kingdom. The UK version of the single includes a limited edition enhanced CD with video, poster and Westlife-only version and CD with Westlife video interview and picture sleeves. Due to its European success, the single is featured on the international edition of Carey's compilation album No. 1 to Infinity. Track listing United Kingdom, CD1, Against All Odds 321, Against All Odds Euro 909, Against All Odds Euro 321, Westlife Interview Euro 400, CD2, Against All Odds Euro 321, Against All Odds Euro 321, Against All Odds Euro 648, Against All Odds Euro 321, cassette, Against All Odds Euro 321, Against All Odds Euro 348, Japan, Against All Odds Euro 321, Against All Odds Euro 348, Against All Odds Euro 339, Against All Odds Euro 321. Charts Weekly charts. Year-end charts. Certifications and sales. Steve Brookstein version, English singer and the X Factor winner Steve Brookstein included Against All Odds on his debut studio album, Heart and Soul. It was released as his debut single on December 20, 2004 by Sony BMG. The single charted at number 1 in the United Kingdom and at number 11 in Ireland. It sold 127,701 copies in its first week in the UK, making it the lowest-selling X Factor winner's single to date. It has sold less than half the copies of Leon Jackson and Little Mix, a third of Joe Maselda's, a quarter of Matt Cardle's, and a fifth of those of Shane Ward, James Arthur, Leona Lewis, and Alexandra Burke. The next fewest sales from a winner's song was Sam Bailey selling 149k, 26k more than Brookstein. Background In 2004, Brookstein won the televised UK talent competition The X Factor, and recorded a cover of the Phil Collins 1984 hit Against All Odds as his debut single. It entered the UK singles chart at number 2 behind Do They Know It's Christmas? By Band Aid 20, and then climbed to number 1 where it stayed for 1 week from January 2, 2005 to January 8, 2005 and was replaced by Elvis Presley's Jailhouse Rock. Against All Odds was later included on Brookstein's debut album Heart and Soul. Track listing Against All Odds Euro 317, Smile Euro 155, Help Me Make It Through the Night Euro 200. Charts Other covers. American indie electronic group The Postal Service covered Against All Odds for the soundtrack to the 2004 film Wicker Park. The cover was later named as one of the best cover songs of all time by the New York Post. The Shadows did an instrumental of the song in 1986 on their album Moonlight Shadows. Welsh singer Bonnie Tyler released the song as a single from her 2003 album Heartstrings. Instrumental group Jontis Project released their version from the album A Passionate Life. Michael Ball recorded the song and it appears on his albums The Movies, Stage and Screen and Seasons of Love. In 2008, Barry Manilow covered the song on the album The Greatest Songs of the 80s. In 2009, Linda Eder covered the song on the album Soundtrack. In 2013, Blaine Anderson covered the song in the Glee episode Guilty Pleasures. In 2013, Straight No Chaser covered the song with Collins on their Under the Influence album. Pop culture Radio The song also features heavily in the first act of the This American Life episode Break Up. The segment featured an interview with Collins, as well as narration from a woman who listened to the song to get over a breakup and vowed to write her own breakup song. See also, List of Billboard Hot 100 number 1 singles of 1984, List of number 1 singles from the 2000s, List of number 1 singles of 2000. References. Inline citations Bibliography